Good afternoon. We'd like to talk about the most profitable markets in the combust flow and treat business today. This has been an evolution for the McIlvaine Company. We've been helping companies determine how big these markets are. We've also been helping determine what is the lowest total cost product and what products fit in what processes. And ultimately, for both the end user who wants the lowest total cost of ownership and the supplier who wants to offer a product that has the biggest differential in the cost of ownership between his product and others, that he should be pursuing those markets, and the end users are welcoming these lower cost opportunities. So the most profitable market program can be a cost-effective foundation of a business strategy due to the digital tools and knowledge now available. So the basis for the MPM program is really these market reports that McIlvaine has been preparing for 44 years. We also have databases and decision systems, and we can build on that with custom consulting to provide the most profitable markets. So maximizing profits in combust flow and treat markets is rewarded by the opportunities in over a $400 billion overall market. But there have been, among the participants, spectacular successes and failures. The market is technology driven, and the market is dynamic in terms of industries, processes, geographies, products, innovation. A high growth dynamic market includes a number of opportunities. One, for instance, would be single-use biopharmaceuticals growing at double-digit rates in the U.S., tight oil, gas, and petrochemicals, hydraulic fracturing, and so forth, where some very unusual new developments promise huge opportunities. Coal-fired power in Asia, indoor air purification in Asia, where residents are trying to keep the dirty outdoor air from penetrating into the houses and workplaces. And then water reuse in Asia and the Middle East, where it's very arid. And for all the CFT markets, the potential for the industrial Internet of Things with process management software, data analytics, instrumentation, including wireless, and then remote O&M. So profitability forecast for each opportunity should be the foundation of the business program. The focus would then be on the most profitable opportunities, given the market size and potential share. So you start with all opportunities, and then you identify the growth or promising areas. You then determine where you can offer superior products or service, and then you prepare a market analysis based on that. So it's a little bit different than is normally being done. So can the market forecast be the foundation of the business program? This is a kind of revolutionary new concept. A top-down forecast is inherently approximate. Segmenting it further only increases the inaccuracies. Traditionally, market forecasts have been top-down $3,000 purchases, which could only be used as a very peripheral tool. The alternative has been extensive analyses delivered by management consultants with general expertise. Recognizing the value of niche experts, some CFT suppliers have contracted with semi-retired individuals with specific experience in the subject area. All of these approaches are essentially obsolete because there is now a voluminous quantity of information available, which can be organized to provide insights which are impossible to obtain with traditional efforts. This leveraging of available information has been labeled the Industrial Internet of Wisdom. IIoW can be used to cost-effectively calculate tens of millions of reliable revenue opportunities. IIoW can also be used to guide R&D and results in better products, which in turn result in lower total cost of ownership, and this in turn results in higher profit margins. The McIlvaine Company has a great deal of the basic data, including cost factors and labor rates and so forth in the various different countries. But we do all this for 120 countries plus provinces and states, hundreds of industries, hundreds of processes, many thousands of products, and then many thousands of individual purchasers who operate hundreds of thousands of individual plants. And we have analyses going back 40 years, and we are forecasting 30 years into the future. In the digital age, there are billions of useful documents which, when organized and utilized by experts, create a whole new level of wisdom. The most profitable market is the market which delivers the greatest profits from the resources available. And this is the goal of CFT companies, to maximize profits. So market forecasts should be the foundation of the business strategy. Instead, they are usually treated as a peripheral tool. The reason is that market forecasts typically quantify the TAM, which is total available market. This includes geographies and product requirements which cannot be served. The reports can be customized at some expense to provide the serviceable, obtainable market, which reflects a market which can be served at some profit margin, but it might be meager. Management doesn't want to be chasing orders which have meager unit margins when there are opportunities with high margins. By creating a most profitable market forecast, a very valuable foundation for the whole business program is created. The most profitable market is determined by 4 factors. You're starting with one of the McIlvaine reports, which would give you the serviceable, obtainable market or derived therefrom. For each product, there needs to be an evaluation to determine the lowest total cost of ownership differential to competitors. In other words, where does the company have the lowest total cost of ownership and by how much? A route needs to be then determined for the lowest total cost of ownership validation. How do you prove to the customer that your product does have that lower cost? Once all that is done, a market share determination can be made as to the market share which can be achieved at various profit margins for each product. The various product, industry, and geographic options are evaluated in terms of the margins and market share which can be obtained. The most profitable selections are then made based on resources available, and this creates your most profitable market. The determination of lowest total cost of ownership is difficult, ongoing, and very rewarding, and it's based on the lower production M&O and performance costs. So the aggregation of products, industries, geographies, and individual purchases needs to be evaluated in terms of the total cost of ownership. This cost of ownership varies depending on whether the product is high performance or general performance. A high performance product is in severe or critical service. These products are generally purchased based on life cycle costs and not on initial price. A general performance product is likely to be purchased based on price or convenience. The initial price plays a very large role in total cost of ownership. Determining the TCO requires knowledge of industries and processes, as well as the anticipated performance of the product in various circumstances. Ascertaining the lowest total cost of ownership entails an analysis of competitive products. So the materials and assembly, repairs and maintenance, results and reliability are all factors shaping the total cost of ownership. There are external costs, obviously distribution. If you sell direct rather than through distributors, you save distribution costs. There are benefits such as supply of multi-product packages or even total solutions, which reduce many of the costs to the supplier and therefore make a bigger differential. With going on to a little bit more information about the validation, it requires convincing decision makers. In a manner, it's similar to a lawyer making a case to a jury. The other side will be making their arguments to counter the supplier. So the process really has to be sequential and continuous. The process is made by multimedia, actually, websites, magazine articles, conference speeches, and in person. And McIlvaine is working with the media, conference organizers, and so forth in this regard. Validation needs to be based on accepted process variables, accepted labor, downtime, energy, and other costs, which McIlvaine has gathered. Subject matter expert testimony is more convincing if the expert has a body of evidence to support his conclusion. So a good lawyer assembles all the evidence and presents it in a way to support his assertions. McIlvaine has created decision guide templates, which can be expanded to provide the body of evidence. A subject matter expert who helps prepare and then is most knowledgeable about the decision guides becomes a subject matter ultra expert, SMUE, and provides the most credible testimony. There are tremendous advantages for determining the lowest total cost of ownership for each individual purchases, and then obviously to create a most profitable market opportunity and forecast for each of the major purchasers. And this can be done because 550 companies buy 60% of all the CFT products. 5,000 companies buy 85% of the combust flow and treat products. And 12,000 companies buy 90% of the CFT products. And there's another 30 or 40,000 companies that buy the other 10%. So the trend is towards centralized purchasing with lowest total cost of ownership validation. Companies like ArcelorMittal are religiously doing this. The forecast for each product and each division for a prospect is invaluable as a collaboration tool for local salespeople. So you really have an instant way for the local salespeople to share knowledge and work together if they both have a promising opportunity at an individual customer. The MPM program is most effective if the largest individual purchasers are included. There's a big potential to sell multi-product packages and to provide total solutions. And once your local salespeople are working together, some of the ideas about providing packages evolve. So the cost of the MPM program can be shared among divisions. Many large multi-division companies could very economically pursue these individual customers. The MPM forecasts are each also produced cost effectively. So the top 550 companies operate 10,000 plants, and the MPM for the individual plant is important in terms of service and purchase of general performance products. So in other words, if you have a lot of your purchasing that would be done centrally with corporate, but there are certainly service and other reasons why you have to focus on the plants as well. And the way that we are arriving at the potential of each plant is one, using the production of power in megawatt, tons of iron, tons per year of ethylene or pulp, and they can all be determined accurately with the data that is available. 95% of all the purchases are made for existing plants, whether it be replacement or expansion. So you really do know who your customers are. You don't necessarily know when they're going to be purchasing for that next expansion. But if your salespeople are on the ball, you're going to find that out long before there are any kind of quotation requests. So the purchase of high performance products can be made months or years in advance. Sales leads are not the route to selling high performance products. McIlvaine maintains plant and project databases for many different industries. And for an individual plant, you have the project databases and plant databases to identify that plant. But there's a lot of other information out there that can be garnered. There are air and water permits, which have unbelievable amounts of detail about the plants, and new construction permits and so forth. And then you have case histories and conference papers and so forth that give you lots of information as well, and it can be organized. So moving forward with the MPM program, you really start with one McIlvaine. You can start with one McIlvaine report, and then proceed with the lowest hanging fruit from that report. And it can then become the foundation of your business strategy one step at a time. So one report with SOM and evidence availability can be purchased as the first step. And then with consulting, the lowest hanging fruit can be identified on the basis of the market size and how the lowest total cost of ownership analysis would be determined. A larger consulting contract will then determine specifically the MPM. The project can then be extended to the full range of products within the division. Collaboration with other divisions, including cost sharing, can then be implemented. Full use for R&D, production, and sales can then be undertaken. So this is something that can be started with one small sales group and expanded to the whole corporation. So full implementation results in a bottoms-up program with participation from everyone, from the local salesman up through the CEO. So for more information is available on the markets. You can see there's in the PowerPoint presentations that accompany this, you can click on 20 or 30 of our market reports. A number of databases are shown in the next link. We do have contacts at the plants, but we have a whole program using LinkedIn, which is also quite effective. And the decision guides are shown in a number of areas where they are available. And my name is Bob McIlvaine, and this is my email address and phone number. And I would be very pleased to talk to you more about the most profitable market program. Thank you for your attention. And meeting for all. Right?